Cold mist filled the underground chamber as 6 metal pods slowly opened with a long hiss. Inside each pod, a human body stirred back to life after 50 years of frozen sleep. The bunker's emergency lights flickered on, casting strange shadows on the concrete walls that had protected Earth's last survivors. Alex opened his eyes first, feeling the sharp pain of returning consciousness. His military training kicked in immediately as he forced his stiff body to sit up and scan the room. The other pods were opening too, revealing his 5 companions who had volunteered for this desperate gamble half a century ago. Status report. Alex croaked, his voice rough from decades of silence. A gentle female voice filled the chamber. All 6 subjects have successfully completed cryogenic revival. Welcome back, Alex. I am Aria, your automated research intelligence assistant. The date is March 15, 2157. Nova pushed herself out of her pod, her engineer's mind already working despite the fog of revival. 50 years, she whispered. Did it work? Did humanity survive? The silence that followed told them everything they needed to know. Rio swung his legs over the edge of his pod, testing his balance. As humanity's best pilot, he had been chosen for his quick reflexes and steady nerves. Aria, give us the full briefing. What happened after we went under? The AI's holographic form materialized, a simple blue outline of a woman. I'm afraid the news is not encouraging. The war ended 14 months after your cryogenic suspension began. Earth surrendered unconditionally to the Hegemony Alliance on June 3, 2014. Sam, their medical officer, was checking on Zoe and Kai, making sure their revival process had gone smoothly. Surrendered? That's impossible. We had the Phoenix Protocol. The defense satellites, the lunar bases, all compromised, Aria continued. Intelligence suggests that the Centauri Collective, humanity's supposed allies, provided the hegemony with complete tactical data on Earth's defensive positions. The attack was swift and devastating. Kai, their scientist, stood on shaky legs and walked to the nearest computer terminal. His fingers moved across the holographic interface, calling up data that made his face grow pale. The population numbers. Aria, these can't be right. I'm afraid they are accurate. Current estimates suggest fewer than 10 million humans remain alive across the galaxy. Most exist as laborers in mining colonies or service workers on alien worlds. Earth's population is listed at approximately 50,000, all working in the mining operations that have stripped away most of our home's natural resources. Zoe finally found her voice. As their communications expert, she had maintained contact with resistance cells across human space before the final battle. The other cells? The hidden bases we established? Many were discovered and eliminated in the years following the surrender. However, I have maintained contact with 17 separate survivor groups. They believe themselves to be alone. Alex stood and walked to the chamber's main display. The screen showed Earth as seen from orbit, but it looked wrong. Where once blue oceans and green continents had sparkled, now brown scars covered much of the surface. Massive mining operations had carved deep wounds into the planet's flesh. They think we're extinct, Alex said quietly. Good. Let them keep thinking that. Nova was already at work, her hands flying over the engineering controls. Aria, status on our equipment stores? The fabrication units? The weapons cache? All systems have been maintained at optimal levels. The automated factories you designed have been operating continuously, producing materials according to your pre-war specifications. Current stockpiles include enough equipment to outfit a small fleet. Rio's eyes lit up at this news. Ships? Please tell me we have ships. 3 vessels are currently ready for deployment. The stealth frigate Phantom, the heavy cruiser Retribution, and a modified transport called Haven. Additionally, the fabrication systems can produce more vessels as needed, though it will take time. Kai was studying genetic data on his screen, his expression growing darker with each file he opened. Aria, what's this about biological computing systems? These readings show human neural patterns. The AI paused before answering. The hegemony has developed a technology they call organic processing units. They use living brain tissue to create highly advanced computers. The tissue is harvested from human prisoners. The room fell silent except for the hum of machinery. Each of the 6 survivors processed this information in their own way. Sam's hands clenched into fists. Nova's jaw tightened as she worked. Rio's eyes went cold and distant. Zoe turned away from her console, unable to look at the data. Kai continued reading. his scientific mind cataloging every horrible detail. Alex walked to the center of the room and looked at each of his companions. They think they won. They think humanity is broken, scattered, and forgotten. They're using our people as spare parts for their machines. What's the plan? Nova asked, though she already knew the answer from the look in Alex's eyes. We remind the galaxy what happens when you try to make humans extinct. We show them that we don't just survive, we evolve. Sam stood up from her medical station. The other survivor groups don't know we exist. If we contact them, we will, Zoe interrupted, already working at her communications array. But carefully. If we move too fast, we'll expose them to retaliation. Rio was studying star charts on his display. The alien fleets are spread thin. They're not expecting resistance. Most of their ships are converted cargo vessels and patrol craft. They've gotten comfortable. Comfortable is dangerous, Kai noted, still analyzing the data streams. But it's also an opportunity. They've integrated human technology into their systems without understanding it fully. There are vulnerabilities we can exploit. Alex nodded. Arya, I need you to compile everything. Fleet positions, government structures, resource allocation, communication networks. We're going to need detailed intelligence before we make our first move. Already compiling, Alex. However, I should inform you that the Hegemony Alliance is not the unified force it appears to be. The Draknari and Vorth have been competing for control of former human territories. There's tension between their leadership. Division we can use, Nova said, looking up from her engineering station. If we're smart about this, we can turn them against each other. Sam had been quiet, reviewing medical data about the surviving human populations. 50 years, she said softly. We've missed 2 entire generations. The humans out there don't remember Earth the way we do. To them, this is normal. Then we'll remind them, Alex said. We'll remind them what it means to be human, what it means to fight back. The 6 survivors looked around the chamber that had been their tomb and their salvation. Above them, an unsuspecting galaxy continued its daily routine, believing that humanity was just another footnote in the history of conquered species. They had no idea that 6 ghosts had just awakened. And those ghosts remembered everything. The revenge of humanity was about to begin. 3 weeks had passed since the awakening, and the survivors had transformed their underground bunker into a command center. Multiple screens showed data streams from across the galaxy, while the team worked around the clock to understand their new reality. Nova wiped sweat from her forehead as she climbed out of the maintenance tunnel. The stealth systems are online, she announced to the others. Phantom is ready for her first mission. Alex studied the holographic display showing hegemony patrol routes around Earth's orbit. Rio, how confident are you about slipping past their sensors? The pilot grinned, his first real smile since awakening. Those sensors are designed to detect human ships from 50 years ago. Phantom uses technology they've never seen before. We'll be invisible. Kai looked up from his research station where he had been analyzing alien communication networks. I've found something interesting. The hegemony uses quantum encrypted channels for military communications, but their civilian networks are surprisingly vulnerable. If we can access their data streams, we become invisible listeners, Zoe finished, her fingers dancing across her communications console. I've been working on translation protocols. The Draknari use scent-based data encoding, while the Vorth rely on harmonic frequencies. Both can be intercepted and decoded. Sam was reviewing medical files, her expression troubled. The survivor populations we've located are in worse condition than Arya initially reported. Malnutrition, untreated diseases, psychological trauma. They've been systematically broken down. Which makes them perfect for our purposes, Alex said coldly. Broken people have nothing left to lose. They'll fight harder than anyone. Nova activated a wall display showing the solar system. Red markers indicated alien installations, while blue dots showed confirmed human survivor locations. There are 3 major supply caches we hid before the war. If they're still intact, we could equip a small army. Rio pointed to a location near Jupiter's moon Europa. This one's the closest. It's inside an abandoned mining station. The hegemony uses that sector for routine patrols, but they don't actually land on the station. That's our first target, Alex decided. Rio, you and Nova take Phantom. Retrieve whatever you can and scout the area for survivor groups. Zoe's console chimed with an incoming transmission. Alex, I'm picking up a coded signal. It's using the old resistance frequency. The transmission was weak and full of static, but they could make out a human voice. This is Outpost 7. Anyone out there? Draknari patrol hit us yesterday. Lost 12 people. Running low on supplies, Sam leaned forward. Where's Outpost 7? Area materialized beside them. Based on signal triangulation, the transmission originated from the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. There are several mining installations in that region. Alex made his decision. Change of plans. Rio, Nova. You're still going to Europa, but first we make a detour. If there are humans out there calling for help, we answer. 2 days later, Phantom glided silently through the asteroid field. The ship's advanced sensors painted a detailed picture of the area, while remaining undetected by any watching eyes. There, Nova pointed to a small asteroid with docking ports carved into its surface. That has to be Outpost 7. Rio maneuvered the ship closer, using the asteroid's bulk to mask their approach. I'm reading life signs. Maybe 30 humans inside, but their power levels are critical. They're running on emergency systems. They docked with the outpost's emergency airlock. Nova cycled the system while Rio kept the ship ready for a quick departure. The airlock opened to reveal a thin woman with gray hair and suspicious eyes. Who are you? She demanded, though her voice carried hope beneath the caution. Friends, Nova replied simply. We got your distress call. The woman's eyes widened. That's impossible. Our transmitter barely has enough power to reach the inner system. You'd have to be right here. We were, Rio said, stepping forward. I'm Rio, this is Nova. We're part of a group that survived the war. The woman stared at them for a long moment. Survived? You mean you've been hiding all this time? Something like that, Nova said. We're here to help. Can you tell us about the Draknari patrol that hit you? The woman, who introduced herself as Captain Stone, led them through the outpost's cramped corridors. The conditions were worse than their medical reports had suggested. People huddled in small groups, sharing what little food they had. Many showed signs of long-term malnutrition and untreated injuries. The lizards show up every few months, Stone explained. They take our people for their labor camps and leave us just enough supplies to keep working the asteroids. Yesterday was different, though. They seemed scared, jumpy, kept asking if we'd seen any unusual ships. Nova and Rio exchanged glances. Word of their awakening hadn't spread yet, but the hegemony was clearly nervous about something. How many other outposts are there? Rio asked. Maybe a dozen in this sector alone, Stone replied. We try to stay in contact, but it's dangerous. The aliens monitor our communications. Nova was examining the outpost's systems. Your power core is failing. You've got maybe a week before total shutdown. Stone nodded grimly. We know. Most of us have been preparing for the end. What if I told you the end doesn't have to come? Nova asked quietly. Back at the bunker, Zoe had made a breakthrough. Alex, you need to see this. I've cracked into a Centauri collective database. The main screen filled with classified documents bearing the seal of humanity's former allies. Alex read through the files, his expression growing darker with each page. They didn't just betray us, he said finally. They sold us. Look at this. Territorial agreements, mining rights, trade concessions. They negotiated our extinction for profit. Kai looked up from his workstation where he'd been analyzing biological data. It gets worse. These files show that the Centauri Collective has been providing the hegemony with human genetic samples. They're not just using captured humans for their organic computers, they're breeding them. Sam turned away from her medical station, unable to process the horror of what they were discovering. They're farming our people like livestock. The breeding facilities are located on Kepler Station, Zoe continued, her voice tight with controlled anger. It's a joint operation between the Centauri and the Vorth. They've created specialized humans with enhanced neural processing capabilities. Alex walked to the display showing Earth's ravaged surface. 50 years ago, we thought the worst they could do was kill us all. We were wrong. They found something worse than death. Arya's hologram flickered as new data came in. Alex, I'm receiving a priority transmission from Phantom. Rio and Nova have made contact with survivor groups in the asteroid belt. They're requesting immediate assistance. How many survivors? Alex asked. Approximately 400 humans across 12 installations. All are in critical condition and report regular harassment by hegemony patrols. Alex turned to his remaining team members. Sam, prepare medical supplies for transport. Kai, I need you to design portable shield generators, something that can protect those outposts from attack. Zoe, start working on secure communication protocols. We're going to link every survivor group into a network. What's the plan? Sam asked, though she was already pulling medical equipment from storage. We're going to do what humans do best, Alex replied, his eyes fixed on the star charts showing hegemony patrol routes. We're going to survive, adapt, and then we're going to make sure our enemies regret leaving us alive. Kai paused in his work. Alex, once we start helping these survivor groups, the hegemony will know we exist. There won't be any going back. Alex smiled, but there was no warmth in the expression. Good, let them know we exist. Let them know that humanity's death has been greatly exaggerated. The war for humanity's future was about to begin, but this time they wouldn't be fighting alone. The massive Draknari dreadnought Scales of Victory cruised through space near Mars, its crew completely unaware they were being hunted. Inside the ship's command center, reptilian officers monitored routine patrol duties, while their ship's powerful engines pushed them toward another boring inspection of human mining operations. 2 kilometers away, invisible to all sensors, Phantom followed like a predator stalking prey. The stealth ship's advanced technology made it completely undetectable, as Rio matched the dreadnought's course and speed with perfect precision. Target analysis complete, Nova whispered into her headset. Though speaking normally wouldn't have mattered through their sound dampeners. The ship has a crew of 800 Draknari and 50 Vorth technicians. Main reactor is located in the engineering section. Deck 7. Alex studied the dreadnought's schematics on his display. Security systems? Standard hegemony protocols, Kai replied from his position at the science station. Energy barriers at key checkpoints, automated defense turrets, and biometric locks. Nothing we can't handle with the right approach. Sam checked her medical kit one final time. Remember, we need the command crew alive for intelligence gathering. Stun settings only until we reach the bridge. Zoe's fingers worked across her communications array. I'm ready to hack their internal networks once we're aboard. Their quantum encryption is military grade, but I've found weaknesses in the implementation. Rio brought Phantom alongside the dreadnought's docking bay. Magnetic clamps engaged. We're attached. Nova, can you get us inside without triggering alarms? The engineer was already working on the airlock systems. Their security assumes any boarding attempt would come from a ship they could detect. Since we're invisible, their automated systems don't know we're here. Give me 30 seconds. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, revealing the dreadnought's cargo bay. Alex led the team through, their weapons ready but set to non-lethal modes. The bay was empty except for supply crates and maintenance equipment. Zoe, get into their computer network, Alex ordered quietly. I need ship layouts, crew positions, and patrol schedules. Nova, find the fastest route to engineering. Kai, start analyzing their weapon systems for weaknesses. Sam and I will head for the bridge, Alex continued. Remember, this isn't just about taking the ship. We're sending a message to the entire galaxy. The team split up, moving through the dreadnought's corridors with practiced efficiency. Alex and Sam encountered their first Draknari patrol near the ship's central lift. The 2 reptilian guards noticed them a moment too late. Sam's medical training had taught her exactly where to place stunning shots for maximum effect. 2 down, Alex whispered into his communicator. No alarms yet. Nova was making excellent progress toward engineering. The ship's layout was logical, with main systems centrally located for easy maintenance. She encountered 3 Vorth technicians working on power conduits and quickly incapacitated them with her engineering tools modified for stunning. Engineering section secured, she reported. I'm beginning reactor modifications now. Give me 10 minutes and this ship will only respond to our commands. Kai had found the weapons control center and was amazed by what he discovered. Alex, these weapons are incredible. Plasma cannons that could vaporize a city. Torpedo tubes loaded with antimatter warheads. But the targeting systems are completely automated. They rely entirely on computer control. Which means once Zoe hacks their networks, we control their firepower, Alex replied. Zoe had indeed gained access to the ship's computer systems from a maintenance terminal. I'm inside their network, she announced. Crew locations, security protocols, even personal communications. Alex, the captain, is on the bridge with 6 officers. They're reviewing reports about suspicious activity in the asteroid belt. Suspicious activity? Sam asked as she and Alex approached the bridge level. Our rescue operations, Alex realized. They know something's happening, but they don't know what. The bridge of the dreadnought was an impressive sight. Multiple screens showed tactical displays, while reptilian officers worked at control stations. The captain, identifiable by his elaborate scales and ceremonial armor, stood at the center reviewing data reports. Alex and Sam entered through the main door, their weapons ready. The bridge crew noticed them immediately, but surprise worked in the humans' favor. Before the aliens could raise an alarm, both humans had fired stunning shots that dropped 4 officers. "Nobody move," Alex announced in the trade language most species understood. "We're not here to kill anyone, but we will if we have to." The Dreknari captain turned slowly, his yellow eyes studying the 2 humans. "Impossible," he said in accented English. "Humans are extinct. You cannot exist." "Clearly we can," Sam replied, keeping her weapon trained on the remaining officers. "The question is whether you want to cooperate or become extinct yourself." Nova's voice came through their communicators. "Reactor modifications complete. The ship's engines now answer only to us. Even if they retake the bridge, they can't go anywhere." Zoe had taken control of the ship's communication systems. "All internal communications are under our control. The crew doesn't know what's happening," Kai reported from weapons control. "All weapon systems are locked down. They can't fire without our authorization." The Dreknari captain studied Alex with growing recognition. "You're military trained. I can see it in how you move, how you speak. But the war ended 50 years ago. How are you here?" "We're very hard to kill," Alex replied. "Now let's talk about your mining operation on Mars." 20 minutes later, the captured dreadnought was moving toward Mars under human control. The Dreknari crew had been secured in their quarters while the 6 survivors worked from the bridge to coordinate their first major strike against the hegemony. The processing facility on Mars handles mineral extraction from the entire inner system, the captain explained reluctantly. 50,000 humans work there, along with automated systems worth billions of credits. Nova studied the facility's specifications. The main processing center is heavily shielded against radiation, but those shields work both ways. Once we're inside, they can't call for help. Rio piloted the massive ship with surprising skill for someone used to much smaller vessels. "We'll use the ship's identity codes to get close. By the time they realize something's wrong, it'll be too late." Mars grew larger on the main screen, its reddish surface scarred by decades of intensive mining. The processing facility was a sprawling complex of domes and towers stretching across what had once been a natural canyon. "Incoming transmission from Mars Control," Zoe reported. "They're requesting our mission parameters." Alex took the captain's communication headset. "Mars Control, this is Scales of Victory. We're conducting a routine inspection of processing efficiency. Request permission to approach main facility." "Permission granted, Scales of Victory," came the reply in the harsh 4th language. "Proceed to docking Bay 7. As they approached the facility, Alex made a ship-wide announcement using the Dreadnought's internal communication system. "Attention Mars Processing Facility. This is Alex of the Human Resistance. Your facility is now under our control. Any attempt to harm human workers will result in the complete destruction of your installation." The facility's response was immediate panic. Communication channels erupted with confused alien voices demanding explanations that wouldn't come. Nova had prepared for this moment.
"Firing plasma cannons at the facility's communication array," she announced.
The ship's powerful weapons turned the Mars facility's transmitters into molten metal, cutting them off from the rest of the hegemony. "Now for the real message," Alex said. The Dreadnought's weapons targeted carefully selected areas of the processing facility, storage areas, administrative buildings, and automated systems. The strikes were precise, designed to cripple operations without harming the human workers. When the attack ended, Alex opened a channel on all hegemony frequencies. His message was broadcast across the galaxy, carrying farther than any human voice in 50 years. "To all members of the Hegemony Alliance," he began, his voice calm but filled with deadly promise. "You declared humanity extinct 50 years ago. You were wrong. We are still here and we remember everything you've done to our people. This attack on Mars is just the beginning. Every human you've enslaved, every person you've murdered, every child you've stolen from their families. We remember it all. You thought you had won the war, but extinction was just the start. We are coming for you, all of you." The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. Humanity had returned, and their message was unmistakable. The war was far from over. The captured dreadnought, now called Lazarus, drifted through the outer edges of the solar system, while its new human crew worked frantically to coordinate the growing resistance movement. 2 weeks had passed since the Mars attack, and the galaxy was still reeling from the shock of humanity's return. Zoe worked at multiple communication stations simultaneously, her hands flying between different control panels as encrypted messages poured in from across known space. "Alex, we're getting responses from survivor groups everywhere," she announced, excitement clear in her voice. The Tau Ceti colony, the mining stations around Wolf 359, even scattered groups in Vega system. Sam was treating refugees who had been evacuated from Mars before the hegemony could retaliate. The medical bay was crowded with humans who hadn't seen proper health care in decades. "The psychological damage is extensive," she reported. "Many of these people have never known anything but slavery. They don't understand that they can fight back." "They'll learn," Alex said grimly, studying tactical displays that showed hegemony fleet movements. "What's our current strength?" Nova looked up from her engineering station, where she'd been coordinating with the automated factories hidden throughout the asteroid belt. "We have 17 ships combat ready, with more coming online every day. The factories you designed are working perfectly. They're using salvaged hegemony materials to build new vessels." Kai had been working on his viral code project, designed to corrupt the biological computers that used human brain tissue. "I've identified the neural interface protocols the aliens use," he reported. "The good news is that human brains are naturally resistant to their control methods. The bad news is that the resistance causes significant trauma to the subjects." Rio piloted Lazarus toward a rendezvous with a small fleet of human ships that had emerged from hiding after hearing Alex's broadcast. "Visual contact with the rebel fleet," he announced. "I count 12 vessels, mostly modified cargo ships and mining craft, but they're armed and ready to fight." The fleet commander appeared on their main screen, a weathered woman with gray hair and burn scars covering one side of her face. "This is Commander Steele of the ship Defiance. Are you really Alex? The one who took out Mars facility?" "I am," Alex replied. "And you're going to help us take out a lot more than one facility." Steele's eyes hardened with determination. "We've been waiting 50 years for this moment. What's the plan?" Alex activated a holographic display showing the local star systems. Red markers indicated hegemony strongholds, while blue dots showed confirmed human survivor locations. "The hegemony thinks we're scattered rebels with no coordination. We're going to let them keep thinking that while we build a proper military force. The Draknari have 17 major shipyards in this sector alone," Nova added, highlighting the installations on the display. "If we can capture even 3 of them, we'll have the infrastructure to build a real fleet." Kai pointed to another group of markers. "The biological computing facilities are our priority targets. Every day we delay, more of our people die in those machines." Sam had joined the briefing after settling the refugees in temporary quarters. "What about the Centauri Collective? They betrayed us once. What's to stop them from doing it again?" Alex's expression grew cold. "Nothing. Which is why we're not trusting them. Any Centauri ship that approaches us gets one warning to surrender. After that, we treat them as hostile." Commander Steele nodded approvingly. "I lost my family to Centauri betrayal. They deserve everything that's coming to them." Zoe received an incoming transmission on a priority channel. "Alex, I'm picking up a coded message from inside hegemony space. It's using old Earth military encryption. The message was from a man who identified himself as Captain Stone, a name that made Nova sit up with recognition. The transmission was brief but urgent. Human fleet detected by Vorth patrol near Proxima Station. Under heavy attack. Request immediate assistance." Alex didn't hesitate. "Rio, set course for Proxima. Maximum speed." "That's deep in hegemony territory," Steele warned. "If we go in there, we might not come back." "Then we better make sure we win," Alex replied. The combined human fleet jumped to hyperspace, their ships moving faster than anything the hegemony had on patrol. The journey to Proxima took 18 hours, during which the crews prepared for what could be their first major fleet engagement. When they dropped out of hyperspace, they found a battle already in progress. 3 human ships were fighting desperately against a Vorth battle group, while trying to protect a convoy of refugee vessels. The aliens had superior numbers and firepower, but the humans were fighting with the desperation of people defending their families. All ships, Attack Pattern Delta, Alex commanded. Target their command vessels first. Lazarus led the charge, its massive weapons tearing through Vorth shields like paper. The other human ships followed, their smaller guns adding to the concentrated firepower. The alien fleet had been caught completely off guard by the sudden arrival of reinforcements. Rio's piloting skills shone as he maneuvered the huge dreadnought like a fighter craft, avoiding return fire while keeping their weapons trained on enemy ships. Their formation is breaking apart, he reported. The Vorth don't know how to handle coordinated attacks. Nova had modified Lazarus's weapon systems to fire in synchronized patterns with the other human ships. Combined firing solution locked. All ships fire on my mark. The concentrated barrage destroyed 2 Vorth cruisers instantly while crippling a third. The surviving alien ships tried to retreat, but Kai had jammed their hyperspace drives using techniques learned from studying their captured technology. No survivors, Alex ordered coldly. We can't let them report our fleet strength. The battle was over in 20 minutes. The human fleet had won decisively without losing a single ship. More importantly, they had rescued nearly 2,000 refugees and gained access to intelligence about hegemony operations in the sector. Captain Stone came aboard Lazarus personally to thank the rescue fleet. He was older than Alex had expected, with white hair and hands scarred by decades of manual labor. I never thought I'd live to see humans fighting back, he said, his voice thick with emotion. How long have you been running refugees? Sam asked while treating wounded survivors from the convoy. 20 years, Stone replied. Ever since I escaped from a labor camp on Rigel 7th. There are more of us out there than the hegemony realizes. We just needed someone to show us how to fight back. Kai was analyzing data recovered from the destroyed Vorth ships. Alex, look at this. The biological computing facilities aren't just using random humans. They're specifically targeting people with advanced education. Scientists, engineers, doctors. They're stealing our brightest minds. Alex studied the facility locations marked on the captured star charts. Then we hit them first. Nova, how quickly can our factories produce assault ships? Give me 3 weeks and I can have 50 combat vessels ready for deployment, Nova replied. But we'll need more crews to operate them. Commander Steele smiled grimly. Leave that to us. Every human who's seen what you did at Mars wants to join this fight. We'll have volunteers lined up around the galaxy. Zoe had been monitoring hegemony communications, intercepting their encrypted transmissions about human activities. The aliens are getting nervous, she reported. They're calling emergency sessions of their ruling council and moving fleets to protect key installations. Good, Alex said. Fear makes them predictable. When someone is afraid, they make mistakes. Sam had finished treating the refugees and was reviewing their medical data. These people have information about hegemony operations across dozens of star systems. If we can organize what they know, we'll have a complete intelligence picture of enemy positions and weaknesses. Kai finished. Combined with our technical advantages, we could actually win this war. Alex looked around at his team and their growing fleet of allies. 50 years ago, humanity had been scattered and defeated. Now they were united by a common purpose and armed with technology their enemies couldn't match. The hegemony wanted to make humanity extinct, he said quietly. Instead, they just made us angry. And an angry human is the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. The network was awakening and the galaxy would never be the same. The Hegemony Council chamber on Nexus Station buzzed with angry voices as representatives from dozens of alien species argued about the growing human threat. The massive space station hung in orbit around a neutron star, its political importance matched only by its strategic location at the center of 3 major trade routes. High Chancellor Vrak, the most powerful Draknari in the galaxy, slammed his clawed fist on the council table. The humans have destroyed 12 facilities in the past month, he hissed, his forked tongue tasting the air for signs of deception among his allies. Their fleet grows stronger while we debate meaningless strategies. General Zenth of the Vorth clicked his mandibles in agitation. My intelligence networks report human ships appearing in systems we thought completely secure. They have technology we don't understand, and coordination that suggests unified command. Ambassador Thel of the Centauri Collective shifted nervously in his seat. Perhaps we should consider negotiating with them. The humans were once reasonable. Reasonable. Vrak's roar echoed through the chamber. They broadcast their intention to destroy us all. There will be no negotiation with extinct species that refuse to stay dead. What none of the council members knew was that Alex and Kai were already inside the station, having infiltrated through maintenance tunnels during a shift change. Their stealth suits made them invisible to sensors while Kai carried a data storage device containing his master virus. Central computer core is 3 levels down, Kai whispered as they moved through the station's service corridors. If I can upload the virus directly into their main system, it will spread through every connected network in the galaxy. Alex checked his weapon and communications gear. How long do you need? 5 minutes for the upload, another 10 for it to propagate through their security systems, Kai replied. After that, every biological computer in hegemony space will turn against its controllers. Meanwhile, Rio was leading the largest human fleet ever assembled toward 3 different targets simultaneously. 50 ships split into 3 attack groups, each aimed at a critical hegemony installation. The timing had to be perfect. Strike too early and they'd lose the element of surprise. Too late and the virus upload might be detected. All groups report ready, Commander Steele announced from her flagship Defiance. Group Alpha is in position to hit the shipyards at Kepler Station. Group Beta has the slave processing centers at Vega Prime targeted. Group Gamma is standing by to assault the biological computing facility on Rigel 7. Nova monitored the attacks from her position aboard Lazarus, which served as the command ship for the entire operation. Her automated factories had been working around the clock to produce enough vessels for this massive coordinated strike. All ships show green across the board, she reported. Weapons charged, shields up, crews ready. Sam had positioned medical ships at strategic locations to receive rescued prisoners and wounded humans. The refugee camps they'd established were overflowing with people liberated from previous raids, but there was always room for more survivors. On Nexus Station, Alex and Kai reached the central computer core without being detected. The chamber was vast, filled with organic computing units that pulsed with sickly light. Each unit contained human brain tissue forcibly integrated with alien technology. My God, Kai whispered, staring at the rows of biological processors. There must be thousands of human minds in here, all connected to the hegemony's central intelligence network. Alex felt a cold rage building in his chest. Can you free them? The virus will do more than free them, Kai said, connecting his device to the main data trunk. It will turn them into our allies. Every human mind in these systems will become a weapon against the hegemony. The upload began, streams of code flowing into the alien network. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the biological computing units began to flicker with different patterns of light. It's working, Kai announced. The human consciousness stored in these systems is reasserting control. They're breaking free of alien programming. Alarms began sounding throughout Nexus Station as the central computer systems started malfunctioning. In the council chamber, Chancellor Vrak watched in horror as displays began showing human resistance messages instead of tactical data. What is happening? He demanded, but his technical staff had no answers. The screens filled with images of the human fleet attacks taking place across the galaxy. At Kepler Station, Group Alpha was systematically destroying Draknari shipyards while liberating human workers. The Vega Prime assault had freed nearly 10,000 slaves and captured the facility's commanding officers. Most shocking of all, the Rigel 7 operation had completely destroyed the biological computing center and rescued over 5,000 humans, whose minds had been used as processing units. Impossible, General Zenth chittered. Our defenses should have held against any human attack. The answer came from the station's own speakers as the compromised computer systems broadcast a message in Alex's voice. Your biological computers have turned against you. Every human mind you enslaved is now working to destroy your empire from within. Rio's fleet had achieved complete tactical surprise at all 3 targets. The hegemony's military response was chaotic and uncoordinated as their command. Networks failed across multiple systems, simultaneously. This is Rio to all attack groups, the pilot announced over the fleet communication channel. Primary objectives achieved. All facilities are secured and human prisoners are being evacuated. Hegemony reinforcements are 3 hours out, more than enough time to complete our mission. Nova was monitoring the broader strategic situation from Lazarus. Alex, the virus has spread beyond Nexus Station. I'm reading system failures on hegemony installations across 17 different star systems. Their entire communication network is collapsing. On the station, Alex and Kai were making their way toward the hangar bay, where their escape ship waited. Behind them, Nexus Station was descending into chaos as organic computers throughout the facility turned against their alien operators. The Centauri representatives are trying to evacuate, Kai reported, monitoring the station's internal communications through his hacked access. Should we stop them? Alex considered this for a moment. No, let them run. When this is over, we'll deal with them properly. They reached their ship just as station security forces realized what was happening. Plasma bolts filled the hangar as Draknari guards tried to stop the escaping humans, but Alex and Kai were already aboard and lifting off. Nexus Station to human vessel, came an angry transmission. Surrender immediately or we will destroy you. Alex took the communication controls. This is Alex to Nexus Station. You're welcome to try, but I think you'll find your weapon systems aren't responding to commands anymore. Indeed, the station's defensive systems had been completely compromised by the virus. Instead of firing on the escaping human ship, the weapons turrets began targeting hegemony vessels trying to dock with the station. The escape was clean, and within hours Alex and Kai had rejoined the main fleet at their hidden base in the outer system. The coordinated attacks had been an overwhelming success. 3 major installations destroyed, thousands of humans freed, and the hegemony's command structure crippled. Casualty reports, Alex requested as soon as he was back aboard Lazarus. Sam looked up from her medical station with a smile. Minimal losses on our side. 37 wounded, only 4 fatalities. The hegemony lost over 200 ships and had their entire biological computing network compromised. Commander Steele's image appeared on the main screen, broadcasting from Defiance. Alex, we're receiving surrender offers from 17 different hegemony outposts. They're asking for terms. No terms, Alex replied without hesitation. Any installation that used human slaves or participated in the biological computing program gets destroyed. Any that were just military bases can surrender unconditionally. Zoe had been monitoring communications across the galaxy. The political situation is changing rapidly, she reported. Several species that were part of the hegemony are declaring independence. The Draknari and Vorth are trying to maintain control, but their alliance is fracturing. Nova was already planning the next phase of operations. With the automated factories working at full capacity, we can have 200 ships ready within the month. If the hegemony is fragmenting, now is the time to push our advantage. Alex looked around at his team and the growing fleet of human vessels surrounding them. 50 years ago, humanity had been defeated and scattered. Now they were the ones dictating terms to their former conquerors. The Empire is falling, he said quietly. But we're not finished yet. We won't be finished until every human in the galaxy is free, and every species knows the price of trying to make us extinct. The hegemony's days were numbered, and humanity's time of revenge was just beginning. The ruins of the Hegemony Council building still smoldered on what had once been Nexus Station, as Alex stood in the observation deck of Lazarus, watching human engineering teams begin construction of humanity's new capital. 6 months had passed since the coordinated attacks that shattered the alien alliance, and the galaxy was being reborn under human leadership. Commander Steele approached from behind, her footsteps echoing in the quiet chamber. The Centauri delegation is requesting another meeting, she reported, though her tone suggested she found the idea distasteful. They claim they have new intelligence about Vorth holdout forces in the outer rim. Alex didn't turn from the viewport where he watched. Construction crews assembling the framework of what would become Phoenix Station. Tell them what I told them yesterday and the day before that. Any Centauri ship that approaches human space without explicit permission will be destroyed on sight. They're getting desperate, Steele observed. 3 more Centauri colonies declared independence this week. Their government is collapsing just like the hegemony did. Nova's voice came through the ship's communication system. Alex, you need to see this. The automated factories have completed the new production run. Alex made his way to the main hangar where Nova was overseeing the deployment of the latest generation of human warships. These vessels were unlike anything that had existed before the war. Sleek, powerful, and incorporating technology reverse-engineered from captured alien systems. 200 ships completed this month alone, Nova announced proudly. each one more advanced than anything the hegemony ever built. We're not just rebuilding humanity's fleet, we're creating something entirely new. Rio was inspecting one of the new fighters, running his hands along its smooth hull. The performance specifications are incredible. Faster than anything we had 50 years ago, better armed, and completely invisible to most sensor systems. Sam emerged from a nearby medical facility, where she'd been treating the latest group of freed prisoners. We've now liberated over 500,000 humans from various forms of slavery, she reported. The psychological rehabilitation programs are working, but many of these people will need years of support. They'll have it, Alex promised. No human will ever be enslaved again. Kai was working at a mobile research station, analyzing data from biological computers that had been captured intact. The organic processing technology is actually fascinating from a scientific perspective, he said. We could adapt it for beneficial purposes: medical research, enhanced learning systems, space exploration. As long as it's completely voluntary, Zoe added, looking up from her communications console. I've been monitoring the liberation messages we've been broadcasting. Human colonies across the galaxy are declaring their independence and requesting to join our new confederation. Alex studied the holographic display showing human-controlled space. What had started as a few hidden survivors had grown into a rapidly expanding sphere of influence that now encompassed dozens of star systems. Status report on the Dreknari remnants? He asked. Zoe brought up tactical displays showing the current positions of surviving hegemony forces. They've retreated to their home system and are trying to rebuild their fleet. Intelligence suggests they're also attempting to negotiate with the Vorth for a new alliance. Let them try, Alex said coldly. The Vorth are too busy fighting civil wars to help anyone else. Indeed, the insectoid species had fractured into multiple competing factions after the collapse of their command structure. Without the biological computers to coordinate their hive-like society, individual Vorth colonies were acting independently and often in conflict with each other. Captain Stone approached the group, his weathered face showing the satisfaction of a man who had lived to see justice served. The refugee resettlement programs are ahead of schedule, he reported. 17 new colonies are being established, all with defensive systems based on your designs. Nova had been working with Stone to create fortified settlements that could protect themselves against any future alien aggression. Each colony has enough firepower to hold off a battle fleet, she explained. We're not just rebuilding, we're making sure this never happens again. Alex walked to the main display where a map showed the current political situation across the galaxy. Human space was marked in blue and expanding steadily. Former hegemony territories were colored red and shrinking daily. Independent systems that had declared neutrality appeared in yellow. What's the situation with the Rigel Republic? Alex asked, referring to a coalition of species that had broken away from the hegemony after witnessing humanity's return. Zoe consulted her diplomatic files. They're requesting a formal alliance. They want human protection in exchange for trade agreements and basing rights. Terms? Alex inquired. Complete freedom for any humans in their territory, technology sharing agreements and mutual defense pacts, Zoe replied. They're essentially offering to become a human protectorate. Sam looked up from her medical reports. What about the species that actively participated in enslaving our people? The ones who ran the biological computing facilities? Alex's expression hardened. They face justice. Every species that profited from human suffering will answer for their crimes. This had become known as the Phoenix Doctrine, the principle that humanity would never again allow themselves to be victimized, and those who had committed atrocities would face consequences for their actions. Rio was studying star charts, planning routes for the next phase of expansion. The Outer Rim territories are mostly unexplored. If we establish colonies there, we could create a buffer zone between human space and any future threats. Do it, Alex decided. But not just colonies, fortress worlds. Anyone who wants to threaten humanity will have to go through our strongest defenses first. Kai had been analyzing communications intercepts from across the galaxy. The psychological impact of our return continues to spread, he observed. Species that never even heard of humans are now studying our history and technology. We've become the dominant military power in this region of space. Nova was reviewing construction schedules for the expanding fleet. At current production rates, we'll have over 1,000 ships within 2 years. Combined with the orbital defense platforms around our colonies, we'll be essentially invulnerable to conventional attack. Alex nodded approvingly. What about unconventional attacks? Biological weapons, nanotech, temporal manipulation? Already developing countermeasures, Kai replied. Every form of exotic technology we've encountered is being analyzed and defended against. We won't be caught off guard again. Commander Steele received an urgent communication and looked up with interest. Alex, we're getting reports from the Tau Ceti system. A Draknari battle group attempted to retake one of their former colonies. Attempted? Alex asked. Steele smiled grimly. The local human defense force destroyed the entire battle group without losing a single ship. The Draknari survivors are requesting permission to surrender. This had become increasingly common as former hegemony forces encountered the new reality of human military superiority. Species that had once viewed humans as inferior now faced overwhelming technological and tactical disadvantages. Sam was treating wounded survivors from the latest liberation missions. We found something interesting on the last raid, she reported. The aliens had been keeping detailed records of every human they captured. Names, family relationships, genetic profiles, everything. Alex felt a familiar cold anger. They were treating us like livestock. Yes, but it also means we can reunite families that were separated decades ago, Sam continued. I've already matched over 300 children with their parents. This was perhaps the most rewarding aspect of their campaign. Not just the military victories, but the human families being restored after years of forced separation. Zoe received an incoming priority transmission. Alex, it's a message from Earth. The Liberation Forces have completed their mission. The main screen filled with images of humanity's homeworld, showing blue skies and green landscapes where once there had been only brown scars from alien mining operations. Human engineering teams had spent months restoring the planet's natural beauty. Earth is free, announced the transmission from the planet's surface. The last alien installation has been removed, and ecological restoration is proceeding ahead of schedule. Earth is ready to welcome its children home. Alex felt a mixture of satisfaction and anticipation. Earth was free, humanity was strong, and their former oppressors were either defeated or fleeing to the furthest reaches of space. What's our next objective? Commander Steele asked. Alex looked around at his companions, the 5 people who had awakened with him in that bunker so many months ago, and the growing number of allies who had joined their cause. Together, they had accomplished what seemed impossible: the resurrection of human civilization and the establishment of humanity as the galaxy's dominant species. Our next objective is to make sure this never happens again, Alex said finally. We're going to explore every star system, contact every species, and make it clear that humanity is not just back. We're here to stay. And if any species decides they want to try enslaving humans again? Rio asked. Alex's smile was cold and final. Then they'll learn why extinction was just the start of their problems. The 6 survivors who had once been humanity's last hope were now the founders of a new human empire that stretched across the stars. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson about trying to make humanity extinct. Some species are too stubborn to stay dead, and when they return, they remember everything.